All right, well, the Western NATO alliance continues to pretend that it's not involved in Ukraine. To listen to them speak about this, they continue to pretend that, hey, it's only an outsider. We're only an outsider looking in, like a friendly neighbor that comes over to your house to check in on the cat while you're on vacation. We'll put out some food and water for your cat, for your war, but we don't own the cat. We don't own your war. It's not our cat. We're just here to help. That's literally what NATO is doing right now. Of course, all of this is a lie revealed in the Pentagon leaks a short time ago, that in addition to training Ukrainian soldiers on tanks and weapon systems and intelligence and targeting and all of that, they've offered, NATO has offered detailed intelligence support, tens of billions worth of advanced weaponry. And to top it all off, NATO is calling the shots on just about every missile that's fired. Every offensive move that Ukraine puts on is all run through NATO. Not to mention all the countries from NATO that have their boots on the ground, their special operations forces who are actively in Ukraine, even though they lied to us about that. But they're there. There are a lot of them that are there. But we're also getting new revelations that NATO specifically told Ukraine to kill as many Russians as possible. Their words, their directive. This was revealed in a new article in Foreign Affairs magazine. Now, remember, Foreign Affairs is a neoconservative, pro-war supporting rag by the military-industrial complex.
Oh, yes, they are. I was watching a Foreign Affairs reporter on the Colbert Report from 10 years ago, just last night. Did you see what I was watching last night as we went to bed? So what that was his name starts with a G, and he was on the Colbert Report and basically joking about how after the Sochi Olympics, Barack Obama was playing this sort of game like, you take all the medals, we'll take Ukraine while you're not looking, while you're busy with those Olympics. And they were treating it as if it was a funny joke. Like Ukraine, has been aligned with Russia for a long time. The United States wants to sort of lure them away, like, hey, come away from your boyfriend and be with us. He literally made a joke about this. 10 years ago, we were being warned how capricious the West was about this conflict. I'm going to bring this video next week because it's crazy. But Foreign Affairs. Yeah.
Yes. Just a mouthpiece of the neoconservatives, mouthpiece of the pro-war movement. So when you read, and, they try to be like very erudite. It's a thick book. It's like, when you're reading a Foreign Affairs magazine, it's like the size of a telephone book. You should really feel intelligent when you're reading Foreign Affairs. That's what they want to. That's what they want to put across. That this is only the Washington elite read Foreign Affairs magazine, which again is a mouthpiece of the deep state and the military-industrial complex. So we are getting these details from Foreign Affairs magazine, neoconservative rag. So for this to appear in Foreign Affairs magazine, Ukraine's winnable war is the headline. Why the West should help Kiev retake all its territory. The article is titled that. Of course, the crux of the article centers around the West supplying endless supply of advanced weapon systems, intelligence, special operations forces, training, personnel, all of it, the full infrastructure. The most stunning part of the article, though, came in an interview piece. A Ukraine defense minister, Aleksey Reznikov, who told Foreign Policy magazine in, what did I say, Foreign Affairs? Yeah, Foreign Affairs magazine, in this interview, that he was told by NATO to, quote, kill as many Russians as possible, even if Ukraine doesn't get all the weapons it wants.
So that basically makes it a kamikaze mission, right?
Yeah.
You may not have the weapons to do it, but die trying.
Yeah. We have asked, can we have stingers, he said in the interview published on Tuesday. We were told no. Dig trenches and kill as many Russians as you can before it's over, if it's over. Reznikov boasted, Ukraine has been given Bradleys, Strykers, Abrams, Leopards, and more, and will soon be equipped with American-made F-16 fighter jets, boasting. And now, by the way, they're asking for...
Dig trenches?
Yeah, dig trenches.
That sounds dig like trenches. World War I.
Yeah, but basically what he means is hunker down for like the long-term, the long haul. Like, you're not going anywhere. It's no man's land. World War I style, like David said, like bunker style.
Not gonna work here anymore.
Not gonna work here anymore. So this idea of kill as many Russians as possible is being taken to heart, and it is the official plan of the NATO overlords. Today, Zelensky's top advisor did basically like a telethon, and says, yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. Here's the headline: Kiev intends to kill as many Russians as possible. It's amazing how they take these marching orders directly from NATO. Mikhail Podolyak says Ukraine's only plan is to launch a brutal offensive to reach back to its 1991 borders. Ukraine currently has only one plan, which is a campaign to kill the maximum number of Russians, Mikhail Podolyak said, an advisor to Zelensky, during a telemarathon on Thursday. A telemarathon. I don't know what that is. Like they're doing like a telethon, like to raise money, like
when Dick Van Dyke would tap dance and you call in.
Yeah, raise money for killing as many Russians.
For what though? Because I mean, if we're sending them, what, like are we up to like 70 billion at this point?
Yeah.
And like, were they trying to pay us back?
I mean,
with the telethon,
like 150 billion or closer to 200 billion. Yeah. You know, I mean, that's just the U.S. part of it alone. I mean, for crying out loud. Like Canada, for instance, learned this today. A friend of the show, David Craden, said that Canada, the per capita amount, the amount of money that Canada has given actually exceeds the United States when you account for per capita amount. Isn't that amazing? Of weapons and money.
Yeah.
Money funneled into Ukraine. There is only one plan, he says, Podolyak says, the most brutal advance with the maximum killing of Russians on this route, he said, noting that Kiev can't just stop somewhere and say, all right, let's think and talk about something now. The only possible scenario for Ukraine is to reach its 1991 borders and kill as many Russians as possible. So this idea of killing as many Russians as possible, that line has been quoted in TV interviews. It sounds very consistent with what Senator Lindsey Graham just said about 2 weeks ago, when he was meeting with Zelensky.
Free or die.
Free or die.
Now you are free.
Yes.
And we will be.
And the Russians are dying.
It's the best money we've ever spent.
Thank you so much.
No, it's...
God, what a scumbag.
No, thank you.
What a scumbag. He's like leaning back, and he's like, man, it's the best money we've ever spent. Yeah. So great, so great. Zero Hedge points out a tweet from Max Abrams. Max is a counterterrorism expert and geopolitical analyst. Max Abrams has pointed out that all of this portends a very long war as a result of this. The Ukraine war won't end for a very, very long time. We never before added a NATO country already at war in perpetuity. That's not containment. It's broadening the war at the expense of citizens from countries who have been lied to about the origins and the risks of the conflict. So think about that. We've never before added a NATO country that's in the middle of what we're pushing is an endless war. Mm-hmm. That's basically, imagine if like the United States was the applicant and we were watching what they were doing in Afghanistan for 20 years. And you had the opportunity to bring America into NATO.
Yeah.
Like knowing what they're in the middle of.
I'd be like, you got to knock that stuff off and then we'll see.
All those wars that you're currently in and running that's going to last for the next 20 years and sap us dry of all money and resources, and it's going to kill millions of people. Maybe you should knock that off before after all, we, NATO, are a defensive organization. That's what they tell themselves, right? We're a defensive organization.
Well, it just erases that sheen of defensive organization when you actively bring in and recruit people at war.
Yeah.
Then it's apparent that you like war, you're for war, and you're going to stick to it. And anyone currently at war, even better. We don't have to start a new one.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time